Okay, everyone, it's 8:29. Welcome to the Conscious Contact Speaker Group of Doylestown. My name is Ron. I'm an alcoholic. Got a couple quick announcements. Real quick, just remember this when we close up. Those tables stay exactly where they're at. The chairs stay there. They want that set up for tomorrow. The only chairs we're putting away are the ones in the front. Mark this down, Memorial Day picnic. You're all invited Sunday, noon till 4:30 on May 25th, 2025 at Peace Valley Park, Pavilion 3. The flyer will be available on our Conscious Contact Speaker Group Facebook page to keep you informed there. And happy holidays, everybody, and happy 2025. And with that, we got the world's greatest chairperson all the way in from Southern Canada. Let's give her a warm welcome, Miss Kara.
Good evening, y'all. Welcome home. My name is Kara, and I'm an alcoholic. Hello. This is a one-hour speaker meeting that meets every Saturday evening at St. Paul's Lutheran Church, 301 North Main Street, Doylestown, PA. Food and fellowship starts at 8 p.m. and speaker at 8:30 p.m. The business meeting for this group meets every Saturday at 7 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. right here. Please come early and join us. The purpose of this group is to provide a consistent message of hope and recovery through God, reliance, and service to others through the practice and teachings of the 12 steps. We record all speakers so that others may benefit from their message of recovery. If you wish not to be recorded, simply ask. This is an open meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous. The group would like to welcome everyone, especially newcomers. Is there anyone new or from out of town that would like to introduce themselves with their first name?
Tom Alcoholic.
Welcome, Tom.
Jude Alcoholic.
Welcome, Jude. Welcome, Mike.
Jack Alcoholic.
Welcome, Jack.
Murph Alcoholic.
Bert.
Zach Alcoholic.
Welcome, Zach. In the back. Welcome, Sabrina. Welcome all. The Conscious Contact Speaker Group encourages sponsorship. With anyone with working knowledge of the 12 steps and is willing to sponsor, please raise your hand. Wow, it's wonderful. Are there any announcements for the good of AA? Gary.
I'm Gary, and I'm an alcoholic. This Monday night at 6 p.m., right outside this room, is the Stay Alive Visitor and Step meeting. And this, at 6 p.m., we have a very special guest, Tom.
Woo! Our sister group is a Big Book study meeting that meets every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. just up the street at Salem UCC Church, 186 East Court Street, Doylestown. Coffee is on at 6:15 p.m. We have meeting lists and big books on easy terms. Please see me or any home group member after the meeting. If you cannot afford a big book, the Conscious Contact Speaker Group will give you one at no charge. Anyone willing to make donations for the purpose of big books to help those who cannot afford them can put donations in the jar on the table marked Big Book and CD donations. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Conscious Contact Speaker Group of Doylestown, PA. And our Facebook group. Subscribe and share. You can find our speakers there. Join our Facebook page to keep informed, and you can share upcoming events and meetings. Now I'd like to introduce Thomas. He's going to come up and read Just for Today, Prayer of Recovery. Let's give Thomas a warm welcome. Woo!
Good evening, everyone. I'm Thomas. I'm an alcoholic. Welcome home. This is the Just for Today Prayer of Recovery. Just for today, I will be agreeable. I will look as well as I can, dress becomingly, talk low, act courteously, criticize not one bit, not find fault with anything, and not try to improve anyone except regulate myself. And with that, we'll have Gary up for the preamble. Let's give Gary a warm welcome.
Hello, I'm Gary, and I'm a well-aging alcoholic. Before I read the preamble, I wanted to shout out to my wife here tonight. Married 39 years, dear. And if it weren't for you, I wouldn't be the man that I am. So thank you, dear. I appreciate it. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength, and hope with each other that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement of membership is the desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees at AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, or organization or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. Oh, sorry, guys. Sorry about that. Thank you, Ron, I appreciate that. So, I want to introduce a good friend of the Conscious Contract Group, Michelle, to read the 12 steps.
Hi, everybody. I'm Michelle, and I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic. And I'd like to read the 12 steps of recovery. Step 1, we admitted that we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. Step 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Step 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. Step 4, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. Step 5, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. Step 6, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. Step 7, humbly asked Him to remove our shortcomings. Step 8, made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. Step 9, made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. Step 10, continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. Step 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. And step 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. And then I'd like to invite our Southern Belle, Kara, back up to the stand.
Our Southern tradition states, every AA group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. At this time, I would like to pass the basket. We have no dues or fees, but we do have expenses. This group provides many services. Your donations cover food, rent, big book CDs, events, workshops, etc. There is absolutely no smoking on church property. Please silence your cell phones and limit movement during the meeting to avoid distractions. Now, I'd like to introduce a good friend of the Conscious Contact Speaker Group. Let's give Ashley a warm welcome. She came all the way from Doylestown. Woo!
Hi, my name is Ashley. I'm an alcoholic. Thank you guys for having me out here. It's literally been years since I've done an hour speaker meeting, so I'm feeling a bit nervous. But I do appreciate you asking me to come be of service. My husband was here speaking last week. So yeah, my job up here tonight is to tell you what brought me to AA and why I stay in AA. When I started, well, let me first say my sobriety date is June 25th of 2007. I was 19 when I got sober. I didn't start drinking because everything really sucked in my life or anything like that. I have a great family. supporting parents, just typical childhood growing up. And I wasn't drinking to escape anything. I started drinking because that's what everybody else was doing. I started, just to party with my friends, and the first time that I ended up drinking, I got blackout drunk, and I just thought that was the purpose. Just drink until you just don't even know what's happening anymore. And I quickly caught on to the fact that when I was drinking, I didn't really care about anything. Like, I just felt a sense of like freedom, and it was more like in retrospect that I have like all of these like OCD tendencies, anxieties, worries, that is the only thing I've ever known as a human being. That's the only way I've ever known and experienced life, was through fear lenses and anxiety lenses and projections. And I quickly caught on that when I am drinking, I don't see anything like that. It's like a complete off switch for me. And that is why I continue to drink. And my drinking progressed rather fast. And instead of just, drinking on weekends and partying with my friends, it just progressed. And then I started drinking after school. And then by the time I was in my senior year, I was, bringing a water bottle to school, and I was in like first period gym class, and a friend of mine took a sip, and he was like, "What are you thinking?" Because it was vodka. He's like, "It is 8 a.m. And I just got to a place in my drinking very quick where it's like I didn't want to experience any of this sober anymore, because everything just seemed easier when I had a drink in my body. And I lived right across the street from my high school, so I would just walk out of school and go home. I continued to, try all these other things that I know just brought me down faster. Like I sit down with the big book, and I'm an alcoholic to the core of my being. I would try experimenting with all sorts of things and trying not to do this and not to do that, and nothing ever worked, and I always ended up coming back to drinking. I had my mom's like extra debit card for emergencies. And to me, being sober was the biggest emergency, and I would constantly take cash out of the ATM and take money from her, and steal money from my dad. He always just had cash laying around, and I started to feel really bad. And like there was always something in me that was like, I really shouldn't, because my mom is the best. Like, I have a great relationship with my mom. Like, she's the last person on earth I would ever want to hurt, but yet I continued to steal from her and lie to her. And my senior year, I worked 3 jobs. I was on a work experience program, so I left school at like 10:50 every day, and I would go work at my mom's orthodontist office after school, and then I would, like 3 nights a week, work in an attorney's office as a secretary, and then on the weekends I would cater. And I wasn't doing any of those things if I was sober. Like, I was literally just working to continue drinking, because I could never possibly have enough money to keep up with the habit that I created. I no longer drink because it was fun anymore. I drank because I couldn't get out of bed without putting something in my body to be normal. Like I said, I didn't want to do these things. I would have the drink in front of me, and I could clearly see what I was doing was wrong. I completely knew the path that I was on was going to be very hard to come back from. But when the drink is in front of me, I don't know how not to take it. Like, all of that just, I know it all, but it's just like, it doesn't hold enough to stop me from taking the drink, which only made me feel more crazy. I woke up one morning and my mom said, we found all of this stuff in your car, and, we want an explanation. And my dad is in AA. Like, I used to go to meetings with him as a kid when my mom had to work late. He has, I think he has like 40 years sober. If I'm 37, 41 years sober. And so I'm aware of AA, but AA is for like my dad. Like, that generation, like that. I don't fit in with that. At the time, I was only 17 years old when my mom found all this alcohol in my car. And they told me my car was broken. Really, they took something like a wire or something else, so I couldn't run or go anywhere. And for like 3 days, they kept me in limbo. I didn't know what they were gonna do. I'm like, now I'm getting so, and she woke me up, and all I could think is, did she find the full bottles? Like, I didn't even care. Like, please tell me she found all the empty stuff. I was just worried about having to be sober. So for like 3 days, they kind of hung me in limbo, and my birthday was coming up, and I got money from family members that sent me money early for my birthday. And my friend at the time was over, and he was like, oh, you have money now, let's go drink, and I'm crying. I am hysterically crying. I am physically hurting. I'm sweating. My body is aching. I have so much anxiety. I have every reason in the world to want to go drink, but I also have way more reasons not to. But I didn't know how not to. And I'm saying, I can't go drink. I have no explanation where this money went. I can't lie to my parents. They found everything. I can't go do this. I just can't. As I'm walking to the car, I just can't. As I'm getting in the car, crying on my way to go get a drink. Not truly in my heart of hearts, I don't want to do it. But I went and I took a drink, and that drink gave me a sigh of relief that I couldn't live without anymore. And against, like when the big book talks about we lost the power of choice in drink, when I read that with my sponsor, I thought of that exact moment, because I was never related to something so much, because that's what made me feel so insane. I really don't want to do it, but like I keep doing it. I don't understand. I see the harm, but I keep doing it. I don't understand. Why can't I stop? I have every intention of stopping, and I just can't. And I lived for the sigh of relief, and I put the alcohol in my body, and it changed my perception of anything that was going on, and I didn't care about where the money went, so on and so forth. My mom said, you're going to be, next day, she's like, you need to get honest about what you're doing, or you're going to rehab. I said, I want to go to rehab. I'm ready to go to rehab. At this point, a bunch of my friends have been to rehab. I'm ready to go. I don't want to do this anymore. And I ended up, I was still 17 at the time, and I actually got out like a day or two before my 18th birthday. So I was in an adolescent program in Princeton, New Jersey, and I went through the detox there, and I just remember being there, and I remember two specific things. That my purpose of going there for me was to be able to wake up in the morning and not have to put anything in my body to feel normal. I just don't want to need something to be able to go live a life. And also what sticks out is that they kept telling me that I'm not going to be able to drink for the rest of my life. Okay, I'm 17. Really? Like I couldn't wrap my head around that. That may be for other people, but I'm here just to get normal. You know, I have normal friends who can drink, and I just need to get back to being normal, and I'll be fine. I stayed there for a bit, and came home, and I went to a few meetings to appease my parents, especially my dad. I went to a few AA meetings. My guidance counselor at the time, went back to high school, still senior year. My guidance counselor at the time, he was in the program, and he reached out to me at school. He really carried the message in his own way, trying to help students. And he invited me to a big book meeting that they held at my high school. Like this, they held it, and I went to that big book meeting on a Monday night just to get my parents off my back. And when I went there was a guy at the podium, and he breaks down the big book, and it's Chris B, and I don't know, he breaks down the big book, and he was loud, and he cursed, and he was older like my dad, and it was just very intimidating. But what I did see is a lot of people in the meeting, a lot of young people in the meeting, which I didn't have any experience with yet. And something stuck with me from that meeting, and he was talking about hitting bottom, and what's your bottom? Crashing my car. What's your bottom? Losing my kids. What's your bottom? Going to jail. And people are naming these things, and he said those are all just circumstances of your disease. We all have the same bottom, and that's when we hit the point where we're so helpless and hopeless that we're willing to ask for help and do anything to overcome this drink problem. And that stuck with me, because all I could see is how I'm not supposed to be here. I don't have kids to lose. I don't have a house to lose. I never crashed a car. I never got in trouble with the law. I'm only 18 years old. I can name a million reasons why I shouldn't be sitting in the chair, but I could relate to the hopelessness that he began to talk about. And I didn't stay sober after rehab. I ended up drinking on my 90 days, and now that I'm normal, and I started drinking, and within a year I'm back to hopeless. Within a year I'm doing the same things that I was doing, before, and I'm just getting worse off. And real quick, let me back up. In that time, I was sober for like 3 months. They have this, I went to Truman High School in Levittown, and they have this like mock car crash on the day before prom. And what they do is they take 2 smashed up cars and they put them out front of the school, and the whole community gets involved. So the fire company, the police, the ambulance, everyone gets involved. I found out that the reason I was chosen to be a part of this was because my good friends at the time said, Ashley needs a wake-up call. She should be involved in this. So I got chosen to be part of the accident. So I got like makeup done where it's like, it looks like I was messed up in a car accident, torn up dress. And so they reenact this whole scene, and the entire senior class is out there to watch it. I got chosen to die at the hospital, so I got taken in the ambulance. They do everything to you as if you were in a real accident. I got taken to the hospital. I got pronounced dead. My mom had to come in and say goodbye, and I just had to lay there and pretend I was dead. And then you weren't allowed to have any phones or anything, and you went and stayed at the Sheridan that night, and you weren't allowed to have contact with anybody, so you could really be dead. And that night, people came to speak to us, like at the Sheridan. We heard from parents who lost their kids in drunk driving. We heard from officers who, were on scenes of accidents. We heard from so many different people and so many of these stories. And I was hysterically crying because all I could think is, that was one of my favorite things to do, is driving drunk. As soon as I start feeling good and I want to drive, like I want to go. And I was just thinking about how lucky I am to be alive and that I didn't kill anyone myself. And I wasn't going to do that again. Like, that experience was so profound to me. We had to write a letter that night to our senior class, and we had to read it to our senior class about the experience the next day. And I read the letter, and I was adamant that I was going to be different. And went to prom, had a blast, went down the shore that night. Who knows, 3 a.m.? I don't know what time. I'm completely drunk and looking for my keys. Me and my one friend just love to drive. When we're drinking, we want to go drive around. I just was convinced that I was never going to do this again for so many reasons. And if you hooked me up to a lie detector test, it would tell you the truth. Like, I really didn't think I was going to do it. But once I put alcohol in my body, all of those ways that I want to live or I want to be just fell to the side. And alcohol takes control. And I'm driving around the beach. And I'm just like, the next day I'm like, wow, I can't believe I was doing that again. And it just fed into like how crazy I feel, Like I said, a year passed, I'm back to doing the same things, just as hopeless. And I get to, I'm driving around waiting for my friend to go get drunk. I'm like waiting for them to be ready, and I pass the high school while I'm waiting. And I see all the people outside, and I'm like, oh, that's that meeting that I went to last year. Let me go swing in and see if my old guidance counselor's out there. I'll just say hi. It's been a year. I'm out of high school. I'm going to say hi. And I pull up, and a guy approached my car, and he's like, can I help you? And I truly don't know what I said. I was something along the lines of like, I just can't stop drinking. I came here before. Is so-and-so here? And he wasn't there. He's like, my friend Tara's here if you want to talk to her. And I was like, okay. I started talking to her, and before I know it, I'm texting my friend saying, I'm not going to go get drunk. I'm going to a diner with this chick from AA. And I've had many days where I woke up with a plan to get sober. No matter what the plan looked like, there was days where I had some plans to get sober that never worked. This was not one of those days. I was full and ready to go get drunk. Like that was my plan for the day with no reservations. And I will tell you this, I was physically pulled to that parking lot, and I met my first sponsor, and that was June 25th, 2007. We went to the diner, we spent hours there. She was talking to me about a big book, and I'm like, I don't even read small ones, let alone a big one, and I don't understand how a book is going to keep me sober. Like, how is a book going to keep me sober? And none of it made sense to me. It was all very like, I had a vision of AA through my dad's eyes, But she's like, and I was really hung up on my 21st birthday. I'm 19 now. I'm gonna drink when I'm 21. Like, you can't tell me I can't drink for the rest of my life. Like, that's crazy. She's like, well, you have some time. So are you willing and hopeless enough that you're willing to just try the steps to see what happens. And I was absolutely willing and hopeless enough to just try what she was showing me. The thought of watching my mom cry as I walked back into rehab was absolutely unbearable to me. I didn't go back to rehab this time. I just, kind of toughed it out and started step work. And she gave me like a little big book, those pocket big books, and at the time I worked at a daycare, so the next day I started reading it at nap time, and I thought to myself, she's gonna be so impressed. I have to be on, like, coming up on my 4th step. I've read so much. She's gonna be so impressed with me. And she's like, I told her, and she's like, that's great, but we're gonna start from the beginning. And thank God we did, because when my eyes went over the word allergy, that's all they did. I didn't comprehend it, I didn't understand what it meant, how it applied to my alcoholism, phenomenon of craving, didn't know what that meant. And when I sat down with her and I went through what it means to be an alcoholic, because I thought I knew what it meant to be an alcoholic, and I had no idea what it meant to be an alcoholic until I sat down and went through the 1st step with her. And I learned that comparing me to my normal friends is like comparing apples and oranges. We're getting 2 different effects from alcohol, and I had no idea. I had no idea that when I put alcohol into my body, it affects me physically different than it does the normal person. Like my mom. My mom's not an alcoholic. She can drink a little bit. Doesn't make sense to me, but she does. I had no idea, and I just can't even tell you how many times I would go out at night with the goal of just being like them, and it never, ever worked. Never worked. And it only made me feel more insane. I have a craving beyond my mental control that just takes over. I learned that keeping it green, or no matter what bad experience I had, I can't replay it in my mind with enough force to keep me from drinking again. Been there, done that, tried it. Whatchamacallit, and everything was starting to make sense to me. And after the 1st step, I don't know, I got excited because it was the only thing like explaining me. Like, I just felt so crazy and so defeated. It was the only thing that I've ever read or spoken to someone about that I could actually relate to. And it started making how I was living make sense. And I honestly got excited a little bit, and I was just like, wow, maybe I really do belong here, because I thought being an alcoholic was something totally different. Like, I just didn't think 19-year-old me could possibly be classified as an alcoholic. So we continued on with the steps. I did the 3rd step with her. And I want to say that when I went through the steps, we by no means rushed through the steps. We did them honestly, we did them thoroughly, but we did them consistently. And by the time I was on my 3rd step, to be honest with you, I was still physically withdrawing a little bit. I said the 3rd step prayer with her. I didn't feel any amazing experience or anything like that, but it was a Sunday, and I went to a 7 a.m. meeting with her, and then a few hours later, I was just hurting physically, and I really didn't want to drink. And I'm calling my sponsor, she's not picking up, and she's not picking up. So I go to a meeting at the Keys. It's a clubhouse near me. Back then, you could smoke in the Keys, and there was, now if you go in the Keys, there's a lot of young people, which is great, but when I went in the Keys, there was a bunch of older guys like my dad in there, or older, and I definitely didn't feel like I belonged, and I was crying, and the guy asked me, oh, will you read? And I thought to myself, you clearly see I'm upset. I cannot believe he's asking me to read. I don't belong here. They said, keep your comments to alcohol and alcohol only, and I was like, I don't belong here, and I left, and I started driving around. And what I don't realize sometimes is that I have a disease of the mind, and my thinking is just really out to get me. And I was hurting physically, didn't want to drink, and my mind tells me, you just got to see some of your old friends. You know, you've been trying to be good, and you just haven't really been able to connect with any of your old friends. Why don't you call so-and-so? I should not be calling any of my friends if I'm trying to stay sober. But I call a friend who I know has anything I want to make me feel better. And I'm like, I'm just gonna go talk to him. We're just gonna go hang out. So I call him, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna come over. And I start driving to his house, and I'm at a stoplight, And I just start crying, and I didn't say a pretty prayer. I just asked God for help. I prayed to a God that I've always believed in a God. I went to Catholic school. I always believed in God, but how he was going to help me not drink, it seemed so far-fetched to me. But I told my sponsor I was willing, and I was willing. And I cried out for God, and I asked him for help, and I said, I don't want to feel like this. I don't want to drink, but I cannot feel like this physically. Like, I am not going to make it. And I went to my friend's house, and he lived on the river, and I sat there for a little bit, and he offered me things that would make me feel better. He offered me alcohol, and at the same time, my sponsor called us back after I've been calling her for a few hours. And I picked up the phone, and I spoke with her for a little bit. I have no clue what we said. I don't remember. I hung up the phone, and I sat there for a little bit, and I gave the alcohol back, and he said, where are you going? I was like, I'm going home. And I went home, and I cried myself to sleep. It was still the middle of the day. I cried myself to sleep. I woke up, and still living at my parents' house, and I woke up, and I felt completely different. I still hurt physically, don't get me wrong. But I remember exactly where I was standing in my bedroom at my parents' house, and I just knew I was gonna get sober. I can't explain it to you. It was just like a matter-of-fact feeling, and because I've been in that situation so many times, and I never would have thought to give the alcohol back, ever, never. I never would have picked up the phone before. The only thing I did differently this time was to cry out to a God for help that I wasn't sure was listening. And I feel completely different. And that to me was like, the big book talks about having spiritual awakenings and spiritual experiences, and sometimes they are aha moments and profound moments, and sometimes they're gradual and educational, and they happen a little bit over time. For me, it was a profound spiritual experience in that moment, and it just made me more excited to continue my steps. And I did a 4-step with my sponsor. I learned a lot about myself, a lot about my character defects, because I would get mad at my boss for treating me so differently. Like, she's so unfair to me, but I truly wasn't seeing the fact that, like, I'm coming late. Like, they have to keep reminding me that my break is only 45 minutes. I work with kids, and I'm falling asleep on the floor. Like, I am being crazy. Like, I am the worst employee, but somehow have this self-righteous resentment that I'm being treated differently and unfair. So I got to really see my part in things, and I did a very, I didn't have a lot on my 4-step, and I was worried I didn't do it good enough, and she's like, well, you are only 19, like, you only lived so much. And she's like, you don't, it's never a final draft. Like, if you forget something, you can just call me and we can go over it, We don't have to sit there and keep racking our brain of every little thing. It's like, this is the stuff I learned in my 4th and my 5th step that is blocking me off from the only power that can keep an alcoholic sober. My resentments, my fears, the way that I treat others, that blocks me off from my higher power. So I really got to see that in my 5th step. And when I went to work the next day, see, I'm like real selfish. Real selfish down to even the little things. Like I said, I worked at a daycare, and I was in the 2-year-old room, and when you have 18 2-year-olds after lunchtime, the floor is a mess. Like, it's a mess. And I hated sweeping it. I hated it. So what I would always do is act busy over here, or like I would have to go to the bathroom, so I wasn't the one to have to sweep up all that rice. And I went to go do that. I went to, go to the bathroom, and the floor needed to be swept after my 5th step, and I'm like, oh my God, this is that selfish behavior that I can no longer act upon. This is how I have to stop being. I just made it a personal point to be the one to sweep the floor all the time. That was just, when I started changing those little things that you don't think matter, that's when I found myself driving in my car at perfect peace and ease. And I wasn't excited about anything. I wasn't replaying events of the past or projecting to the future. I was just present, and I was content. And that's before I even got through all the 12 steps. Like, when I started making those everyday changes, that's when I started feeling the promises. Not realizing that's what I was feeling, but I was just different. And before I knew it, I'm like, wow, it's been a while since since I thought about drinking. I got a home group. I got active in my home group right away. I was, greeter and intergroup rep and all these things. And a really huge experience for me was when I think I spoke for like my first or second time, and my sponsor was chairing the meeting. And the next day she asked me to meet at a mutual friend's house. She wanted to talk. I was like, okay. And I went there, and she wanted me to meet there because she wanted to tell me that she actually wasn't sober anymore. And she wanted to meet at our friend's house because when I heard that news, if I had any doubts about the program, she wanted him to be there to like encourage me that AA can still work and things like that. She wanted me to have support. And that was very nice of her, but at that point in my sobriety, I spoke and she said, I decided to come clean because I heard you speak and I want what you have. And now I want to do something about it. And I got that she wasn't sober and it was really upsetting, but at that point in my sobriety, I was into the 12 steps. I was done the 12 steps, I think, and I already made my own conscious contact with a higher power. I've already had my own God experiences. I wasn't relying on her experience. I've done the work myself, and I'm relying on my own experiences. I've had my own experiences that it doesn't matter who relapses, you're not going to convince me that it doesn't work. You just can't, because I've lived it, and I've experienced it personally. And that's why it's so important not to rely on a human power, because we're human, we're alcoholics. Like, we're going to continuously fail in all different areas of life. I did think life was going to be super easy now that I was sober, and my sponsor just said, you're just rejoining society as a normal person. Things are going to get hard, and they do get hard. So with every step that I took, I got more and more excited, and it says it doesn't matter however limited your conception of God is at the beginning, because I've learned that it just continues to change. Like, it doesn't matter how small of a willingness you have to believe in a higher power. Once you start moving your feet and you start feeling the freedom and the experiences, my relationship with God continues to change with different experiences, different things, over and over again throughout the years. So however limited it starts, it just doesn't matter. Because it's ever changing. That's my experience, at least. I would, go to meetings all the time, and I would run into people that I used to drink with all the time, and I ran into my friend. I went to his house, and I gave the alcohol back. I ran into him when I had like a year sober, maybe a little more, and he's like, oh my God, where have you been? I was like, I've been here. Like, all my friends at the time, the thing to do was to go to Florida and get sober. And nobody ever returned sober, but like, it was just like the thing to do. Everyone kept going to Florida to get sober, come back still drunk. And he was like, how did you do this? Like, how did you get sober in your parents' house, where you used to drink all the time? And I'm like, I just literally came to AA every day and did the steps and continued to do that. And it wasn't until I sat down with my first sponsee and I read the third step promises right before the third step prayer. And as I'm reading that to her, I began to get more and more excited. Like, my voice, she's like, what? And I was like, oh my God, this happened to me. Like, I feel like this. Wow. Like, I knew things have gotten better, obviously, but it's like I sat down with somebody else and I'm just trying so hard to give this to her. And it's by sitting and I'm reading it to her, I'm just like realizing like the change that has taken place in my life because of AA. I was really worried about, as you can tell, first and foremost, I did not drink on my 21st birthday. I actually went to a comedy show with friends from AA, and I didn't think about drinking, to be honest with you. And I had a great time, but I was worried that I was going to have to, like, live in fear, right? I'm really young. Like, I'm going to go to weddings, I'm going to go out with friends. And, I was worried about having this, like, hang over me. And the big book talks about how we can go anywhere on earth a free man can go, as long as we are willing to take certain simple steps, being the steps. And the book told me that I don't have to live in fear. Like, I don't have to live in fear of having an open bar at my wedding because we did. I don't have to live in fear of going on a cruise or people drinking because I do. I don't have to live in fear about my mom drinking on Thanksgiving because she does, and it's not on my radar. I'm not swearing it off, like I cannot be around it, I can't do it, it's bad, and I'm not obsessing about it, like, no, I'm not gonna drink, I'm not gonna look at her drinking, I don't have that, it's just not there. It's just not there. We did have an open bar at our wedding, and I literally didn't even see it. Doesn't register to me. And I'm able to be in this position, safe, protected, and peaceful as long as I continue my work in AA. And being of service, there's been many times in AA throughout the years where it's just I get lazy, and I get busy, and I get pregnant, and I get tired, and I have kids, and I have, you know, all the things. And we got married, and I had my daughter like a little after a year after we got married, and my daughter's a newborn, and I'm insane. I went to one meeting throughout my pregnancy. I just was, you know, it was my first baby. The anxiety is higher than it's ever been in my entire life. The fear is so huge. The moods are so up and down. And I think she was like 3-4 months at the time, and I was always, you know, my husband and I were always butting heads and fighting, and he finally said, like, I don't know what I'm gonna get when I walk into the room with you. And I was just like, honestly, neither do I. Like, neither do I. I have no idea how I'm gonna feel 5 minutes from now, and I honestly can't take it anymore. And that night, like, I dropped my daughter at my mom's house, and I went to a meeting, and at that meeting, I got a new sponsor, and I started going through the steps again. I just reconnected with her too recently. I started going through the steps, and I realized that the 12-step, I think my husband said this to me, I think the 12-step isn't just about sponsoring people, but it's about being sponsored. And it's hard for me, I find, to be sponsored when I feel like everything's okay, you know? Like, what do we have to talk about, you know? But I have to continue to be sponsored. Like, I have to have somebody in my ear. I'll give you an example. That new sponsor, I texted her really late at night one time, and I was like really upset. I was like, I'm really upset. Can you talk? She's like, okay. And she calls me. I tell her my huge problem. And she kind of just like sighs, and I'm just like, what? She's like, I thought something was really wrong. I'm like, to me, it felt like the whole world was falling down. And then I tell my sponsor about it, and she quickly snaps me back to reality, changes my perception of the situation, because my mind just wants to go, and I need help to stop it. I need people to ground me, to point me in the right direction. I as a sponsor, it's not my job to have the answer for absolutely anything a sponsee tells me, but it is my job to point you back to the steps. How should we be living? Are we going to God? And just coming back to these principles no matter the situation. I don't have any answer for anybody. This is all I go back to. I don't have an answer for what you should do about the relationship. I don't have an answer for what you should do about the job. I don't have an answer. I don't have an answer for anything in my life, let alone anyone else's life. All I point them back to is what she did to me, is that you need to stop and pray. You need to stop and pray. You're being selfish right now. You're filled with self-pity right now. Dang, she's so right. And after the conversations, I'd be so freed from myself. That's what alcohol used to do for me, free me from myself. Like, it used to shut it all off. And that's what AA has done for me. It says that we are restless, irritable, and discontented when we're sober, unless we can again experience the sense of ease and comfort which comes at once by taking a drink. AA does that for me. Sometimes it doesn't do it as fast as I'd like it to. But AA and what I've learned here has done that for me. And it's given me, like, alcohol was my solution. It was never my problem. Learned that very early on. Alcohol was my solution to everything. And then when I have to come in here and you're telling me I have to live without the only solution I've come to rely upon, how am I supposed to do that? The steps are the new solution, and it doesn't make sense. It didn't make sense to me when I came in. It didn't make sense. It seemed really far-fetched. Seemed crazy. But I was just so hopeless and willing to just try. Like, why not just try? Like, what's bad's gonna come of it? Like, I can always go drink again. Like, I might as well just try. I continue just to try. I was, like I said, I got married in sobriety. I have a daughter. I have 3 stepsons who are 17 and twin 16-year-olds. My daughter is now almost 13, and my son is 7. I really grew up. I really grew up in the rooms of AA, and I base my entire life and all the decisions I make from what I learned from AA and how I try to live. I do want to rewind, like those times where I do get lazy and I'm not active in AA, the opposite happens. I don't feel the promises any longer in my life. I feel the opposite of them. I feel the bedevilments. I feel restless, fear, and resistant. I feel anxious. I feel not at peace, consumed with self. And I will be honest that I don't want AA to be the answer sometimes. I don't want it to be. I don't know why. I can't tell you. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't want AA to be the answer. Can't this be the answer? Can't this therapist be the answer? Can't this pill be the answer? Can't this be the answer? Like, to me, some days, it feels like, why does it have to be so hard? I'll be very honest that life has been lifing for me, and it's making me uncomfortable, like a lot. Like, I've been through so many ups and downs through my sobriety. But this last, 6 months is easily, hands down, no matter what I've been through, has been the hardest. And I'll tell you, after all this time sober, it feels hard these days. Like, it feels hard to continue to fight, right? And I've been feeling hopeless for numerous reasons. I lost my brother in November, and it's just a heartbreak like I've never experienced my entire life. And I was talking to my husband, Chris. We were at lunch the one day, and we were talking, and he said, yeah, but you're still sober. Like, I might not feel all the promises being fulfilled in my life today or yesterday. Maybe I won't feel it all tomorrow either. I don't know. But, you're sober. It does work. There's so many people that are not sober, that just can't get it. You're sober. It still works. It still works. And he's absolutely right. AA still works. Even when life feels really heavy, it still works. And I've been going to this noon meeting in Yardley on Fridays, and when I started going after I lost my brother, I didn't have anything positive to tell you. I didn't have a message of hope, which made me feel like I shouldn't raise my hand. And I eventually did. A friend of mine, because I would go into the rooms, right? Throughout the years, I'd go into the rooms and I would see somebody struggling and crying. And I would be there for them and try to show up for them. And he's like, it's just your turn to go be the person crying. It's just your turn. And I will tell you that when I started to go to this meeting, after losing him, I was hanging on to every single word they said like I never have before in AA. Seriously, like I've never had. Hanging on to the people in these rooms and what they have to say in these meetings. It's the only way I can describe it. I'm just hanging on to every word because I know this is where I should be. I know that these are my people. I know that there's nowhere else. And amongst, everything aside, I'm so honestly filled with so much gratitude in my heart that I have AA to go to. My mom doesn't. My mom's not in the program. I have people that I can go to, not really know that much, and get so much love and support and perspective, and just someone to sit by my side and be like, it does suck, and it's okay to be mad at God. It's okay, like, and to have these people like continue to show up in my life. That I not only built my actual family in AA, like the people that I have in my life have been my best friend. My kids call her Auntie. Like I was her sponsor. She had 9 months sober. She has 9 months less than I do right now. Like I really made lifelong bonds and connections in this program, and I continue to show up. I continue to be appreciative of AA. I'll share this because my husband and I laugh about it. I always used to share from the podium that I used to drink and it would make me not feel, and I loved it. And I would share, I get to feel today. I get to feel the love of my husband. I get to feel the love of my kids. Oh, I get to feel all of these good things today. Up until November. And I was like, I am never saying that again. I would do anything except drink not to feel. I don't want to feel anymore. I get to feel today. Blah, 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 blah. I was just like, I don't want to feel anymore sometimes. But I can honestly tell you I don't ever think about drinking. All I think about is I have to go to more meetings. I'm gonna call my old sponsor. We're gonna text again, and I just take the steps. I just do it anyway. I'm a personal trainer, and I tell people, I don't know where I heard it before, but it's not about having motivation. Like, I don't have the motivation to work out. I don't have the motivation to sit down with a sponsee. I don't have the motivation. It's not motivation. It's just discipline. Like, the motivation will come, and it's just discipline. It's like continuously doing things that I don't feel like doing for my own benefit and for the help of others. I just have to show up even when I don't want to, because I know it's the right thing to do. People showed up for me and carried a message for me, and people sat down on a couch for me and talked and took me through the steps. I think AA is the coolest thing on planet Earth, and I'm not exaggerating. Like, it's still here. You know, no matter how old I am, male, female, how much time I have, it doesn't matter. We can connect on a level where all the other variables just don't matter. And we can connect on that level of being truly hopeless. And today, I don't fight that drink today, and I can wake up in the morning and not have to put anything in my body to be normal. But if I don't want to suffer from my thinking and my disease of the mind, it has to go deeper. It has to go deeper. I have to rely on a power greater than myself. I have to rely on the people in my life and in these rooms. I do want to say this. Like I said, my dad's in the program for quite some time, and he didn't go to meetings for years, like years. And he was having a really hard time. This was before my brother. This was a few months before my brother. And I'm talking to him on the phone, and I'm in the car with Chris, and it just occurred to me, like, don't talk to him as your dad. Just talk to him about talk to him like a member of AA. And no matter what he was saying, I was like, you know what, Dad? I think you just go to a meeting. Like, it's like 11. Why don't you go to a new meeting at the Keys? Like, why don't you just go to a meeting right now? And he went to a meeting that day, and he has gone every day since. And he got a new sponsor, and he did another 4th and 5th step, and he is on fire for AA again. Like, he really is. And he thanks me all the time, and I hear him telling people, like, because I spoke for him in a meeting, which I was very nervous to do. I spoke for him in a meeting, I think it was like January or something. Yeah, I was nervous. And here I'm telling people, like, yeah, my daughter's the one that told me to go to a meeting that day, and I've been going ever since. And he goes to meetings with my husband. My husband brings him to big book meetings. And he's just like doing the everyday work, you know, and changing the little things that I talked about in the beginning that I started to change. And that to me personally is probably the coolest experience I've had in AA, is just being able to like all the history with my dad and no more resentments and just connect with him in a way that I never have before, in a way that I never honestly thought to. Like he's an alcoholic. Like I am the same as him. Like him and I are so much alike. Dad, you should just go to a meeting. You should really just stop thinking right now and just go to a meeting. So I'm really grateful for that, and I think that I think it's really cool. And you know, today I do get to feel even when I don't want to, but I don't have to drink over anything. I can feel today, and I can feel the bad stuff. I spoke at that meeting for my dad, and people were, it was after my brother, and people were talking about the loss in their life. And I had this epiphany. Oh my God, everything's just gonna get worse. Oh my God. It's actually inevitable. Like you're just gonna continue to lose people in your life. There's no one makes it out alive. And I'm just like, oh my God. And I got this sense of like overwhelming, like I better get it together now. I better get it together now. I built a really strong foundation to get me through my first, I don't know, 18 years? 17, 18 years. I built a really strong foundation to get me through that time. I need to like get it redone. My husband's a mason. I think I need my foundation redone. Like that's what he does for his work. Like I think I need my foundation redone. There's a lot of cracks in it, and it's not holding up to the new stuff I'm building on top of it. Like things keep getting piled onto it because that's life. So I'm just at a point in my sobriety right now where I'm going to continue to show up because I know it works. I'm going to continue to show up because that's what everyone continues to do for me and has always done for me. I continue to sit down with sponsees. My husband had a thing where he picked like a day a week to meet with his sponsees. So it's like, oh, every Monday he meets with this person at this time, whatever it be. So I started to do that. And it's been amazing, to be honest with you. Like it's been amazing. The consistency of having a sponsee, you know, every Monday we meet at 4, we expect each other, and we continue to show up for each other. And it's been such a blessing. And again, it's the discipline. Even when I feel like I have nothing to give you. I will be honest with you, I didn't feel like I had much to give you coming up here tonight. I haven't spoken in a really long time. I've been really sad, I've been disconnected, and I didn't feel like I had a lot to offer you tonight. But this is AA, and the one thing I definitely have to offer you is like freedom from a drink. Freedom from a drink and the 12 steps, and just trying to live this stuff every day is how I continue to stay sober. And, you know, I truly do have a beautiful life today. I have a husband that, you know, we love each other to death. We grow through this program. He tells me things I don't want to hear all the time. And we just hold each other accountable, and we're able to live life as best friends and just continue to experience the ups and the downs together. And I get to raise my kids, and, you know, God willing, they'll never, ever see me drunk. You know, they'll see me show up. They'll see me apologize for my behavior and my character defects. And that's it. I just want to wake up and continue, it sounds so cliche, but to do the next right thing. And it's only by what I learned through this program. That's it. Like, this is my design for living, no matter if things are good, bad, or indifferent. And I want to thank you guys for having me out here tonight. That's all.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name's Brian. I'm alcoholic. First and foremost, I want to thank Ashley for coming out here, delivering an incredible message of hope and recovery to our group here. A couple quick announcements and we'll close down the meeting. As always, we have food and fellowship every week starting at 8 o'clock, so feel free to get here early, enjoy the refreshments, the coffee, the donuts that we put out. If you do want to get involved in service with this group, even better. As Ron mentioned, you can help us out with a little bit of service work after the meeting. We're just going to be putting away these chairs in the front here. But most importantly, if you are new or if you're struggling or you've been coming around for a while and it's just not working, hang out with us after the meeting. There'll be a whole group of us breaking down the meeting. We'd love to talk with you, get you some phone numbers, get you some meetings, and really get you into the solution here. It is customary for us to thank our speakers. They come here on their own time and expense, so we usually form a line in the front here, and we thank our speakers personally. Thanks to everyone for helping out with the meeting tonight. Thanks to our greeters, our readers. Thanks to Howard for taking care of the kitchen there. And let's thank our speaker, Ashley. And if you do care to join us, we have a beautiful way of closing down the meeting. We're going to circle up and close with our Lord's Prayer. We'll close down the meeting here, as always, with a brief moment of silence for the still sick and suffering alcoholic inside and outside of these rooms, followed by our Lord's Prayer. Our Father,